Thank you. I'm so excited to be in a room full of absolutely beautiful people. And the aroma in the room is the aroma of success. I can just smell it. I've been there, I've seen it, and I've experienced it. So I'm very familiar with that. Today we're going to talk about my favorite subject, which is becoming an entrepreneur. It's one of the only things I feel like I'm an expert in because people always say, what do you do? And I say, well, I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm also unemployable because I've tried that and I just wasn't very good at it. I graduated high school when I was 16 years old, not because I was smart, it's because I couldn't keep my mouth shut in study halls, so I had to keep taking classes so I had enough to graduate. And my parents said I was too young to go to school or go to college, so I started working. I'd been in tobacco fields, I'd been in restaurants. We always got paid in cash, which I thought was fantastic. So I got a little taste of money, and I understood what money could do. And so, but I looked at it as a commodity, right? So I was fortunate enough to go get a job, and I made an above average salary working with a construction company and learned a lot about it. Was there for about 5 or 6 years, and every year, had a little company car, got a little bonus at Christmas time, and we got a ham. It was a Smithfield ham, and everybody loved the ham. Well, one year, it came time for Christmas bonus, and I didn't get one. I got a ham. I'm like, my kid, what am I going to do with a ham? I go to my mom's house if I want to get a ham, so I don't know what to do with it. So I made a decision at that point that I kind of wanted to take control of my own life. So I said, I'll go start a restaurant. So Mike and I have a lot in common, Delmonico, because I drove a restaurant in the ground as well. It only took me, I don't know how long it took him, it only took me, 10 months to do it. So I had a guy that would come to my restaurant almost every day and eat lunch, about the same age. He always wore a nice suit, and he drove a nice little burgundy Porsche. And so one day he came in and he said, if you ever want to get out of the restaurant business, why don't you come and see me? And I said, well, first of all, where do you work? What are you doing tomorrow? And so I went to his office the next day, and for some reason he liked me and he hired me. So once again, I got another nice job, working with a retail company, had an above average salary. I've got to travel to New York and see a lot of things. I got outfitted for, Armani suits and all kinds of nice things, nice little perks. And same thing, Christmas time, I got a nice little bonus. Well, one year, I didn't get a bonus. And we were kind of friends too. And I said, hey, hang on a second. What happened to our Christmas bonus this year? And he said, well, we didn't do that well. I was like, well, my department did really well. And he said, well, we're all in it together. We work as a team. And I said, okay, that's great, I get it, but it doesn't seem fair to me. So a couple of days later, I walk out the back door in the loading dock, and I see this beautiful, brand new silver Porsche convertible, a 911 convertible. I'll never forget it. And I said, he got me a Porsche. I said, he finally realized my contribution, and I got a Porsche. And then I saw him walk out and get in the car and said, I'm going to lunch and I'll be back. And so I decided at that moment that I was never going to be rich working for somebody else. I didn't have control of my own destiny. I didn't have control of my own financial future. So I decided to quit my job and go start my own company. I was very fortunate in that company that we started in a little duplex apartment in the NASCAR business. 10 years later, we went through a successful IPO, which was really the blind squirrel finding the nut in an IPO. After that, I tried to corner the market in the real estate industry for about 10 years, and that was fun until 2008. 2008 came along and said, no, that's not going to work for us. You're out. So then I turned around and started another company, a tele-emergent care company. And we did very well. We doubled the size of our company every year for 10 years in a row. Big Fortune 500 company comes in, said, we want to be a part of this, and they did. And I let them in, and I thought, man, how smart am I? And just about the time we were really crossing over the peak, I got, a $9 billion company comes in and says, hey, we're going in a different direction. I was like, what do you mean, going in a different direction? I still own 40% of the company, but guess what? They own the rest. And their other direction didn't include me. So I got fired. I say, hold on a second. You guys got me again. You got me again. I just didn't learn my lesson. And so I set out like 60 to 70% of Americans have a desire to own their own business. The reasons for that are obvious. They have control, which is what I was after. They have security. They have more opportunity. They have control of their own destiny. That's what the desire is. And for millennials and young people, it's even higher. The percentages are higher that young people are looking at it saying, I want to be in control of my destiny too. I want financial security. But in reality, only 10% of Americans own their own business. Why is that? If everybody wants to do it, then why don't you just go do it? Well, there are a lot of reasons for that. There's fear of risk. Everybody's afraid to take a risk. The financial constraints, where am I going to get the money? How am I going to start? And the uncertainty, the economic uncertainty of what will happen to me if I do step out and take that leap of faith. You need a lot of things to start a business, and everybody knows that. You got to have a business plan. You got to have operating capital. You have to have a superior solution to what somebody else may have in the marketplace. You have to be better. And in today's world, you have to make a significant investment into technology if you really want to compete in today's world. So there's a lot that goes into becoming an entrepreneur. So when I looked around and I see WealthWave, and I hear about it from a good friend of mine, J.D. Phillips, who I've known for a long time, and he explained it to me of how it works. And I looked at it, and all I could think about is, WealthWave has created a Ferrari, and they filled it up with gas, and guess what they did? They left the keys in it. They left the keys in it, and it's parked on the curb. And that's the vision that I think Tom has for this, is creating a vehicle that empowers entrepreneurs and gives them an opportunity to take control of their own destiny. When you go out and start a new business, 20 to 25% of the businesses fail in the first year. 50% fail in 5 years. And an even higher percentage fails in year 10. That's a staggering statistic. Unfortunately, a lot of those people, they want to get in the restaurant business because everybody thinks it's great because you can cook like your mother, but I promise you it doesn't work that way. But they fail. Well, why do they fail? Why do businesses fail? A lot of times it's just they didn't start, they undercapitalized the business when they started. They overestimated the demand for their business. They didn't do enough market research for the business. There are a lot of reasons. But one of the biggest reasons that businesses fail is a lack of expertise. A lot of people don't know how to run a business, haven't done it before. You go look at franchises, and so many people will jump out there and buy a franchise, but if they don't have the experience, it's really tough to be successful. But what if you could remove all of that risk off the table? What if you had a vehicle that was sitting there and provided everything that you needed to be successful? And here's the list. Very little startup cost. You can begin part-time and grow your business. You enter the largest industry in the United States. You start with a proven business plan, service an incredible existing demand. You represent the most well-known brands in the industry. Everything you need to be successful, to be a successful entrepreneur, has already been built for you. It's already been built and it's parked on the curb, and it has the keys sitting in it. So if we could provide all that to you, we remove all the risk, we provide all the things you need to be successful, could you do it? Would you do it? Why would you not do it is the question. Would you make that move and take that leap of faith to do it? Tom mentioned it earlier, and this is very important, and that's why I wanted to reiterate it, is what's the one thing that you really need? The L factor. What's the L factor? Everybody remember what the L factor was? It's leadership. Well, let me tell you something about WealthWave. I have had the opportunity to do a lot of things. And the one thing that I've learned so far, being a part of this, which I'm so excited to be, is leadership is here. When I went to taking a few classes at the community college that lasted about 3 months, I had a professor giving a lecture telling me how to make $70,000 a year and climb the corporate ladder of success. And I raised my hand and I said, which business did you work for? Well, he didn't. He was teaching a little technical college. So I said, if I want to go out and I want to learn how to do something, I want to be successful, I want to learn how to do it with successful people. I want to be with the people that have done it before, that have paved the path before me and showed me how it works. And that's what WealthWave does. It's a proven business model. It's generated dozens and dozens of highly successful people and high earners. And it's here. And the only investment you have to make is the desire to be successful and the willingness to be consistent and to stay at it day in and day out. But if you do that, you will be successful in this business. And there's a huge need. We need everybody in this room to participate, and I hope you will.